Hello everybody, this is GeneralJannis, and today I'm continuing my deep dive into the Guard Codex, our exciting new datasheets, and in this video I will be taking a look at the Guard Predators. Are they still worth taking? They have some rule changes, some point increases, and how do they compare, for example, with the Foetid Bloatdrone with Hvy Blightluancher I was showing you the other day, which was really exciting. So with no further ado, let's take a look. So today, the 4th of May, math hammering away the computer, and now I'm into having done Mortarion, the Death Shroud, Blighthauler Terminators, and the heavy launcher, Foetid Bloatdrone. Also in this, I have also a table comparing to other vehicles. So, as I said, I wanted to add the Guard Predators, the Destructor, and the Annihilator to make a full, let's say, more full overview of the vehicles we have and how they compare to each other. So I will be looking at the data sheets for the Predators, their baseline damage output, the buffed damage output, their durability compared to the demon engines of Death Guard and Wardog, Brigand, and so on, and then overall per point comparison, and then summary and final thoughts. As always, a big special thanks and shout out to all my YouTube members, GeneralJannis supporters, welcoming now Kobe or Kobai from Denmark, Aalborg. So a big shout out for Denmark here. So looking at the Predator Destructor datasheet, we are expecting the Codex is printing 145 points, and the rumors is it will stay 145 points. The Annihilator will be 140 points, a little bit cheaper. So the Predator Destructor it has the main gun is the autocannon, so it's more like an anti-Terminator, but also can do some nice work versus vehicles. The sponson options are 2 heavy bolters, one on each side, where you have a lethal hit and sustain hits, or 2 las cannon, which is more anti-vehicle weapon, 1 shot, 48 inches, and then strength 12, AP -3 damage, d6 +1. So you better not miss those shots if you take the las cannons, so it would help to get rerolls, as we will see. And the major changes to our current datasheet on the index is that the autocannon, the main gun of the Destructor, has been actually improved. It has now lethal hits, and also the strength has gone up from 9 to 10, also helping here. It has 4 shots at 48-inch range. When it comes into 24-inch range, we get 6 shots, so improving the damage output for the Destructor. The ability also changed, and now after we have after we have shot with the Destructor, we can select an enemy that is not a monster or vehicle, so basically some infantry beast or something like this. All Death Guard in that phase will get improved armor penetration versus that target. And one other change, the objective control of the Predators was reduced from 4 to 3. Otherwise, they have the similar profile with toughness 10 and 11 wounds, and a 3+ save and no invul save like our demon engines. Looking now to the Predator Annihilator datasheet, as we said, will be at 140 points. It's more like anti-monster vehicle version tank, and the main gun is the twin las cannon, and we have the same options as the Destructor to put the heavy bolters on the sponsons or the 2 las cannons. The ability has changed, not so much the weapons. It no longer rerolls damage versus vehicles and monsters, which was quite good when you have a lot of d6 las cannon type weapons. You want to reroll so you don't get ones for the damage for the shots that pass through. But now instead, it can deal extra mortal wounds on 5+. After it has shot, it can select one unit that is monster or vehicle, and it can add d3 mortal wounds on a 5+ or 4+ if the enemy is afflicted. And as the Destructor, the damage was reduced, the objective control was reduced to 3. And the weapons are, forgot to say, for the Destructor are for the Annihilator as well. The choice basically is the sponsons. Do you go with the heavy bolters or the las cannon on the side, and then you add the Havoc launcher for free, and then you have also a choice about combi bolter or combi weapon. And the armor track for melee, just don't get your Predators into melee. So looking now at the weapon's baseline damage output, and I try to add a little bit of color, and maybe it's easier to see on the fly. So here we are comparing if we are comparing the main gun of the Destructor and the Annihilator. If we have the Destructor's main gun, the Predator autocannon, at 48-inch range, here you can see the damage output across a variety of targets. The numbers here indicate the number of wounds expected versus that target. So for example, with the Predator autocannon at 48-inch range, we're expecting 2.3 wounds on an intercessor squad, so that would mean 1 killed intercessor here. And you can see here versus infantry targets and vehicle targets. If we go to 24-inch range, we get 6 shots instead of 4, so we get a better damage output. And interestingly enough, if we compare with the main gun of the Predator Annihilator, the twin glass cannon at 48-inch range, here is the damage output. We actually get more damage even with the autocannon versus vehicles compared to the Annihilator twin glass cannon. So you can see here the average versus vehicles here is higher than the twin glass cannon of the Annihilator. But we have to remember that the Predator Annihilator can do some extra mortal wounds versus monsters and vehicles. So you would add, let's say, 0.71 wound more if the target is afflicted. So the damage output at 48 inches combined with the twin glass cannon and the mortal wounds is a bit higher than the Predator autocannon at 48-inch. But if the Predator autocannon is at 24-inch, even then it's better than versus vehicles than the Annihilator's main gun. So a blow for the Annihilator, not so strong even versus vehicles compared to the autocannon. And then if we look at the sponsored weapons here with blue, the heavy bolter, 2 times the heavy bolter or 2 times the las cannon, we see that the average across infantry, then we have a higher number for the heavy bolter versus infantry and a higher number for the las cannon versus vehicles, as expected, because it's more it's more dedicated anti vehicle monster weapon. The Hvy Blightluancher is for free, so you just add this damage on top, and then the selection you have for combi bolter or combi weapon. As I've shown you before, combi bolter overall versus the target I'm simulating gives us a better damage output, but not for elite infantry, where the mortal wounds of the combi weapon are better. But yeah, it's a bit UK. If you want to focus more on elite type of enemies, it's better to stick the combi weapon there, or just take the combi bolter. And finally, armor tracks in melee. Yeah, don't, as I said, don't get the Predator should just be shooting and not do anything in melee. Now, if we take the total damage of the whole Predator tank in various configurations and also look at the buffs with Lord of Violence, so here we have the Predator Destructor with a las cannon variant at 48 inches and the Predator Annihilator with a las cannon at 48-inch range. Here we see a slight advantage versus vehicles for the Annihilator type, but you can see here the yellow number is higher than the Destructor, as we saw less shots from the main gun of the Predator Destructor. But when we move into 24-inch range and we are rapid firing our Predator Destructor, you see the heavy bolter variant or the las cannon variant. They are strictly better than the Annihilator with heavy bolter or las cannon variant. So very niche if you want to use the Predator Annihilator. The Predator Destructor can be built for both more anti-infantry shooting or more anti-vehicle shooting. And here, I'm just continuing here with the Predator Destructor. If I take the Destructor with heavy bolters on the side, this is the main damage output here. And then if I have the rerolls for Lord of Violence, then I get 17% more damage. You can see the numbers are increasing for all the targets. And if I also have the enemy being afflicted and in contagion -1 save, we get even more damage increase. It's 65-70% more damage. And here you can see this is the the heavy bolter version. If we go to the last cannon version, we have a bit higher on the vehicles as expected with the last cannon sponsons. And also it improves a lot with rerolling from Lord of Violence and the enemy suffering contagion. So a Destructor with a heavy bolters max buffed at the 24-inch, then we should be able to kill, let's say, 12 guardsmen, 6 marine equivalent, 3 terminators will be killed, and then we'll be able to put, let's say, some smaller vehicles, take them out like a rhino, and then put 6-10 wounds on other a bit tougher vehicles. And if you go for the Predator Destructor with last cannon, you can get a bit more damage versus vehicles and a little bit less versus the infantry. Moving now to the baseline durability. This is not point corrected. Here I'm taking a variety of weapons from the lowly bolters up to a very destructive Desecrator laser destructor weapon, very anti-vehicle like. And the numbers here are indicating how many of those weapons can shoot at our model or attack our model, and how many weapons does it take to take it out. So for example, here let's say the 26 heavy bolters will be needed to take out a Predator tank, only let's say 12 for a Foetid Bloatdrone, and 43 for a Plagueburst crawler, which is our most durable vehicle so far I've analyzed. The Predator lacks the invul save of our demon engines. It doesn't have the 5+ invulnerable, but it benefits from having a little bit more wounds than the Myphitic Blighthauler and Foetid Bloatdrone, and it has a bit higher toughness 10 instead of toughness 9, which makes some difference versus strength 5 weapons, strength 10 weapons, strength 9 weapons, etc. compared to the others. So we see more damage, damage resistance. You can take more shots for most weapons with a Predator compared to our light Foetid Bloatdrone and Myphitic Blighthauler. But this is before we point correct anything. Then for the final table of this video, the overall per point comparison. Now all this is now average damage, shooting and melee, and the durability, and now it's point corrected to 100 points. So here we see the damage versus the infantry, the average number for the targets I'm typically simulating per 100 points at 24-inch, 12-inch and range and melee. And here we have versus the vehicle targets I'm typically simulating. And here we have the durability index. Index 100 means an intercessor versus light weapons, and index 100 is a Space Marine Predator. This is only 135 points, I believe now, so it's a bit cheaper than the Death Guard Predators. And the higher number, the more durable we have in this index, and the higher number here, the more damage we are able to do across the targets. So here we see the Destructor with the heavy bolters and Destructor with heavy bolters and Lord of Violence rerolls. We get quite nice damage, especially versus infantry. And here we compare to the new king of our demon engines, as you saw in my previous video. Sorry for I had a error, 110 points here. Now it's 100 points. So we can see maybe the Destructor has a little bit more damage in this configuration than the Foetid Bloatdrone with Hvy Blightluancher. A little bit more damage per point, but they are very similar. So we see here also a very popular unit for us to use. And if we take the Predator Destructor with last cannon, again we have very similar damage output versus vehicles like our Foetid Bloatdrone with Hvy Blightluancher. You can compare these numbers here, quite similar. We have the Predators are a little bit, they are less durable per point as our Foetid Bloatdrones and Myphitic Blightaulers and Plagueburst crawlers, as we can see, but otherwise the damage is at the top, and very similar damage we can get as our Foetid Bloatdrone. And the Predator Annihilator, as we saw also in the previous graphs, doesn't really do better than the Destructor. It's better to go with a Destructor. And yeah, we can compare even with the Brigand. The Predator Destructor can do more damage compared to the Brigand for most targets and configurations. So reaching to the summary and final thoughts, the Predator Destructor is still an impressive machine of war, still worth it in a Death Guard army at 145 points. Heavy bolters more on an anti-infantry build, the last cannon more for a well-balanced anti-vehicle build. Nice synergy, like most of our units and especially vehicles, with a Lord of Violence. Being able to reroll some of those heavy last cannon attacks is quite strong, not to miss your last cannons. And the Destructor can also add more benefit, improving the armor piercing versus other infantry targets we have. So like tagging and putting the enemy at a larger disadvantage. So it's interesting also that if you have the Lord of Violence in a squad of Blight Lords, he can spot for the Destructor to shoot, the Destructor will shoot, and then he can give improved armor penetration for the Blight Lords and Lord of Violence that can shoot afterwards versus that same target. And interestingly enough, you can stack a lot of AP reductions with our Blight Lords. So basically, if we have the Fusillade, the combi bolt, even the lowly combi bolters become strength 5 AP -1, shooting at the afflicted target. It can gain 1 more AP from the Destructor. We are up to AP -5, and the enemy could be suffering from -1 save contagion. Basically, that means that we in practice have AP -3 on our bolters. So this is a really interesting combi bolter strength here. So this concludes the video. I really need to start working on my now I have my Predator park. I have bought in different lots, and I need to make them Death Guardy. So I really need to field some Destructor as well, I feel now. But right now I have trouble making lists because there are so many good units I want to have. So I have to to make some choices there. So, what do you think about the Predator Destructor? Have you used it with the new Codex rules? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you have any suggestions or questions, improvements, something else you want to see on the channel. Please press like and subscribe, helping my channel to grow. And if you want to become a GeneralJannis supporter member, further supporting my efforts, I would be really appreciative of that. And with these words, GeneralJannis signing out. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye.